trial of 3 apartheid police officers accused of killing student activist Caiphus Nyoka will continue tomorrow in the High Court sitting in Benoni. This includes an on-site inspection at the Davidson home where Nyoka was killed. The trial started this morning with all 3 officers pleading not guilty to murder and defeating the ends of justice. That's after one of their co-accused admitted to the murder in the High Court in Pretoria last week. Let's take you live now to the Benoni court where we find our reporter Corinda Jagmahan. And Corinda, you are standing by with the Justice Minister in the wake of Nyoka's sister taking to the stand today.
Certainly so, Michelle. Well, today, Nyoka's eldest sister took the court back to that fatal night on the 24th of August, 1987, telling the court about how in the early hours of the morning, many police officers barged into their home, speaking in Afrikaans, calling or demanding to see Caiphus. She then told the court about how ultimately the family found the body of Caiphus at a government mortuary, and then told court how the family had been from pillar to post searching for answers, but 37 years later she's in the dock, and she confidently pointed to the suspects, saying that she knew them or she knew of them, and saying that she wants justice. I'm joined now by the Justice Minister, Minister Thembi Simelane. Thank you so much for your time. Minister, you were in court listening to, at times, a heart-wrenching testimony. Tell me about what went through your mind as the sister said she still has not found justice.
Well, I think there's quite a lot raced into my mind because it's one, really the responsibility we have to take as government, 37 years on, that we only bring the Nyoka case to the dock, whatever reason it might have been. I think in the eyes of the victims, we are delayed. We are actually bordering on denying them justice. But I also want to really commend the work that the NPA has done in trying to pick up the pieces and get the work to be done and place these cases. They are cold cases. Investigations are difficult, tedious. But you must also recall that there was a deliberate act of destroying information at the time of the handover of the state. Such cases, even though they went through the TRC, they sort of were scantily looked at with the reliability of the outcome of the TRC finding itself on the investigation. Unfortunately, they were delayed, and some, you heard in this case, both the mother and the father, the parents, are gone, and they would have died with a broken heart. But we are here to say this morning, we're prioritizing the TRC cases. Tomorrow, COSAS 4 is sitting, should have started. Last month, the inquest on the CREDOC 4 actually said with the technicalities had to be postponed to next year in Gqeberha. We're looking into the Northwest Tlhapi case with my team this afternoon. We're hopeful to be wrapping that inquest for it to commence soon. We're working on a number of cases in Mpumalanga. So we'll be putting quite a number of them with the emphasis on the role to ensure that where we can, we achieve justice on behalf of those families. Our mandate is very clear, access to justice for all members of society, and we are going to do it on their behalf.
Minister, it's critical now, especially there is a deadline by the NPA to conclude those, I believe, 133 cases, and you mentioned cold cases, issues with evidence. Tell me about all of these various elements that impact such a case that goes back many years ago.
Well, look, the NPA really started with very serious difficulties from the appointment, the establishment of the unit itself, really starting from the scratch with nothing, getting of skilled investigators from GPCI, and also ensuring that the prosecutors are available. At first, they could only hire on a part-time basis, and they had a problem of retention. Until they had to put a motivation, which has been approved, to go and start and recruit full-time prosecutors who are going to be chasing into these matters. But we're beginning to see the fruit of their work. You could hear the prosecutor is well prepared as well for the case, thoroughly read of it. Ours was just to come and observe what are the glitches. You could see that we lost an hour and a half because the justice system is not working. The transcriber was out. We moved from court 10 to court 11. Some of the issues which I also have to resolve, not only for the TRC cases, there could be a matter that will be heard in that room tomorrow. and the system must be functional. So the visit, I was in KZN, last week I did the same visit in a magistrate court in Durban, and I'm getting to learn and really practically see what are the challenges that prosecutors, magistrates and judges sit with as they ensure that there is access to justice for all South Africans. The air conditions are not working, we had to open the door, there's a noise from the passage. So all those things need to be dealt with and ensure that a system of justice grinds faster.
Definitely so, Minister. I mean, this doesn't, it's not only this case, but around the country there are courts that are almost in a state of degradation, completely so. Where should there be accountability if we want more finances and resources to uplift our courts and proceed towards justice?
Well, the responsibility of infrastructure in terms of repairs and maintenance lies with the Department of Public Works. You must have seen the minister just yesterday, if not day before, where he was really dealing with the infrastructure backlog and ensuring that matters such as this. I mean, you go to Johannesburg High Court, the building can just run down on you as you are busy working. So they are on the radar, they are being looked into. Currently, we've been given permission to just work on small things like the repair of a condition-dependent outtake. There are the roof leakages and small minor issues, I think to a maximum of about 1 million, and we will be rolling out those work, drilling a hole in some court where the magistrates in rural areas, where there's no buying generators, where there's no sufficient power. That's what we can be able to do. But the major repairs still rely with the Department of Public Works. But we are jointly on the table to ensure that we speed them up so that we could be able to be functional.
Just coming back to this case and very briefly, Minister, do you feel, when do you believe that the the cases that were referred to by the TRC to the NPA, when do you believe that all of these matters might be concluded as per the deadline initially set?
Well, they've initiated the deadline, but in our discussion we also can see, due to reasons particularly of only them being granted 2 months or so ago, to be able to approve and hire prosecutors on a full-time basis, they may not be able to meet that deadline. But what am I saying? I'm saying I've seen them put the best foot forward. Hence, we are here this afternoon into a case that has already been in the court roll, and they are doing this work on a day-to-day basis. And more will be placed as tomorrow. There's another one, as there is another case for discussion. We'll be placing more. But really, to put them on a timeline, I don't think it will really be something that one can be able to do. But we can really put targets for ourselves to meet as we meet them on a day-to-day basis, to ensure that we put more pressure on ensuring that these cases do come to court.
So, Minister, thank you for your time. More pressure definitely needed, because, of course, there'll be those families of victims of the apartheid government still waiting for justice, with many cases still no answers left. In this case, though, there is family members that were in the dock. More family members, we understand, that are expected to testify, aside from the elder sister of Caiphus, who spoke today, and speaking really from her heart when she said that she had been quite exhausted just looking for answers with regards to what happened to her brother and who should be held accountable. Now, this case will continue tomorrow, but not here at this court. In fact, there'll be an on-site inspection at the home in Daveyton where Caiphus was murdered. We understand there will be various members of the court that will look through the part of the home that was discussed today at the court testimony, and ultimately that will add to the evidence, and then the court envoy will come back to this Benoni court, and the case will then proceed going forward. A number of witnesses, a number of pieces of evidence as well, but there is a challenge, especially because this case happened 37 years ago, and so there are many instances where evidence perhaps might not be aligning, evidence might be missing, or information might be misconstrued over the years. So this is a specific challenge being dealt with, but of course we'll give you more updates as the day goes by.
And of course, incredibly important that these apartheid-era cases are getting the attention that they deserve. Corinda Jagmohan is live to us there in Benoni. Thanks very much indeed for that update.